Hello and welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint Show. I am your host, Jay Jones. Black Entrepreneur Blueprint was created specifically to educate and inspire Black entrepreneurs to launch, build, and grow successful businesses. Join us as we help build an economic power base in the Black community by promoting business ownership. If you are currently an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur, we invite you to join us every week here at Black Entrepreneur Blueprint.
Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, episode number 312. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and today we have another outstanding and informative show in store for you. Today's show topic, family, is how to get your product ready to sell in retail stores. How to get your product ready to sell in retail stores. Now, I know many of you BEB family members have physical products that you're working on, and you know I am a big proponent of e-commerce and selling online. But don't sleep in terms of retail sales and selling your product wholesale to retailers. Okay, so we're going to talk about how to get your product ready to sell in retail stores. And the way this show came about was two things kind of converged on me. I was in the mall, unfortunately, because I can't stand going to the mall. I was in the mall looking for some T-shirts and shorts to buy. And I went to Macy's, I went to JCPenney's, I went to Target, I went to a couple of different stores. And I just started noticing some of the T-shirt brands that were in there. And I always knew this, but I never really paid much attention. But there are a lot of independent and smaller companies that are supplying these big box retailers with product. And I started looking at the brands and I'm like, man, these T-shirts are nothing special. I could be supplying Walmart or Target or JCPenney's or Macy's with my own product brand. Not that I'm going to do that, but I have had a history of getting products in retail stores. Okay, now the next thing that kind of solidified this was I was talking to my cousin's wife, and she has a new product that she just started trying to sell online. And what it is, it's a bathroom air freshener. It's like a little spritzer bottle. And it's kind of similar to, I think the name of that thing is called Poo-Pourri. And it smelled real good. And she was like, Jay, what do you think I need to do to sell this? And so the first thing that I looked at on her bottle, great looking label, bottles and everything, it didn't have a UPC code, which is a barcode. And I'm thinking to myself, even if you're selling on Amazon, you either need an ASIN number, which is an Amazon sales number that they give you, but you have to stick that on there, or you need a UPC, a barcode, because everything right now is scannable. So if she tried to sell this retail, they would be like, look, you need barcodes on this, and because they're not going to sit there and type in the product number and all that. It's all about scanning. And so that was one of the things that came up, and I started talking to her about how to get it into retail. So that's actually how today's show came about. And we're going to talk about some of the steps that you need to get your product ready to sell in retail and some of the things that you have to think about even before you create your product. But before we get into today's show, I just want to share a few things with the BEB family. First and foremost, I want to welcome all first-time listeners to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Welcome to the BEB family. Please stick around until the end of today's broadcast, and I'm going to share all my social media contact information and my free entrepreneur resource links, such as the link to my new book, A New Black Wall Street, Circulating the Black Dollar Worldwide by Building Successful E-Commerce Businesses. Also, my links to BeSmartByBlack.com and HireBlackFreelancers.com. These are actually two platforms that I've created to help circulate the dollars in the worldwide Black economy. So what Black Entrepreneur Blueprint is about, if you are a first-time listener, is building an economic power base in the Black economy. What we're trying to do is give resources, platforms, information, education to help that dollar circulate in our community. So please stick around until the end of today's show. All right, family, let's get ready for today's show. How to get your product ready to sell in retail stores. So at the opening, I gave you a couple of reasons why I'm actually doing this show. Another reason is I'm actually working on a new brand that I'm bringing out designed to go into retail. It's going to be in the food service space. So it's going to be a food product. So what I'm talking about right now, and I've already done it, but I'm actually in the process now of getting a new brand ready, going online first, but then try to build up and take it into retail stores. So one of the things I want to talk about real quick are some of the pros and cons when you try to get your product into retail stores. So some of the pros are you sell at a higher volume. Okay. You can sell at a higher volume. So instead of selling 1 unit or 2 units online, you're selling wholesale to retailers. So whatever your lot is, you may have lots of 24, you may have lots of 48 or whatever. So whatever your case volume is, you're going to be selling at a higher volume. Also, it's easier to scale your business into a regional or national brand. Once again, it's easier to scale into a regional or national brand. Okay, so once again, because you're doing higher unit volume, you can scale easier because you're selling to stores that are going to sell or buy by the cases. They're not buying individuals. Okay, so one of the other benefits is, guys, you usually will have a lower per unit product cost due to increased inventory production. So if you ordered anything from Alibaba or you're done in the private label space, you know, the more you order, the lower the per unit cost is. So because you're going to be selling to real retailers and big box stores, your per unit cost will be lower or should be lower. If it's not lower, then you got a problem. Okay. But these are some of the pros in terms of selling your product in retail stores. Some of the cons we want to look at. The biggest thing that draws people or holds people back is you must have capital or lines of credit for the increased inventory needs. So once again, if you're in a big box retailer and they say, hey, Jay, I need 25,000 units of this product, you either have to have the capital or lines of credit to be able to fulfill those orders. Now, there's all types of lines of credit and stuff like that. We're not going to get into that deep today. But what we're going to talk about is the macro view of selling into retail stores. Some of the other cons are, number one, you have to repurchase unsold inventory. So if you ever listen to my episode with Mahisha Dellinger, the founder of curls.net, what happens is, and I know this from a personal experience with one of my products that was in retail stores, if your product does not sell through, you have to actually repurchase that product from the retailer. So if you had an invoice for $100,000 because they bought X amount of product, that product doesn't sell through, you have to take that product back and buy the product back. A lot of people don't know that. Now that's individually based depending upon your agreement with that retailer. But if you're dealing with any large chains of big box stores, that's normally the process. Okay. Also, you have to look at, in terms of one of the other cons, is you have to really have some logistics for distribution in place. Okay, this isn't sending out one pack of hot dogs or whatever in terms of somebody buying your product online. You need logistics for your distribution. What type of product do you have? I'll give you a perfect example. One of my products is a liquid-based product. That product is heavy. So if you think about just say 24 bottles or whatever, that's heavy because of the actual the weight of the liquid. So now you're shipping. That's logistics. What does it cost to ship a case of that? Okay, how does that cut into your profit? So these are all types of things that you need. So when you start dealing with selling cases and going into big box stores, the logistics required for distribution are critical. You could lose more of your money due to the shipping cost. So I'm actually working with a student right now, coaching client, and one of the products that they're looking at is a large product that they're trying to get from China. And the problem is Even though the product doesn't weigh a lot, the dimensions of the product. So when you deal with shipping and logistics, you're talking about weight, and you're also talking about cubic meters or the size of the product. Okay, so these are some of the cons when you're ready to sell in retail stores. So we're just going to talk about some of the steps that are needed to get your product ready to go in retail stores. First thing you want to look at, obviously, is the product ideation. What's your product idea? Okay, some of the questions you want to ask yourself: does your product make sense? Does it make sense? And I talk about this on a lot of the shows. Okay, does it make sense? Do people want your product? Okay, last episode I talked about minimum viable product. Proof of concept. Do people want your product? Does it make sense? You also have to think about what separates your product from the others. What separates your product from the others? You know, what are you going to market? Is it a different type of product? Is there a new spin on it? Or is it just about marketing? Okay. Does your product solve a problem? It doesn't have to per se, but does your product solve a problem? If your product solves a problem, it's an easier sell. Okay. So now I always use this example. So if you have foot pain and you have a product that solves foot pain, that's an easier sell versus if you're selling a branded ketchup. Ketchup is ketchup is ketchup, right? But you have to differentiate yourself. So I happened to see a video, I think it was on Instagram or Twitter, and they had Gary V on there, and he pulled off his sneaker and he was talking about Nike, and he was talking about how everything is commoditized. You know, yes, there's different quality of sneakers. You're not going to be walking around in a pair of Bobos, right? So you got Nikes, you got Adidas, you got Pumas, Reeboks, you got Vans, you got all types of different sneakers. But it all really boils down to is actually it's branding. It's branding. How are you branding your product? What is the perception of your product? How are you positioning your product? And that's what it's all about. Okay. So product ideation. What is your product idea? Does it make sense? What separates it from the others? Does your product solve a problem? Okay. Next, you want to look at product creation. And I talked about last week's show, minimum viable product. Okay. Or do you prototype it or create a prototype? Product creation. What is it going to cost you to create or build that product or to buy that product or have it manufactured? Product creation. How fast can you get the product created? Okay, when I just talked about inventory, right? When I talked about some of the cons, I talked about logistics and distribution. So product creation, okay? Product creation. So you have to understand what it costs to create your product. And some of the things that you need to put in there are shipping. You have to look at weight. I just talked about that. What's the weight of your product? How many products are going to be in the case? How many units in the case? So one of my products has 24 units in the case, and another one of my products has 12 units in the case. And it all depends on size, okay? The next thing you want to look at, guys, is your product must look professional. And I'm going to go in a little depth with this. Your product must look professional. So if you have a raggedy or shabby looking product, you're sticking the labels on yourself and the labels are crooked. You smudge the labels and now you're trying to sell your product. Trust me, family, it's not going to work. You need to be professional. Your product needs to stack up against any of the products you see in retail stores. Now, you can create your own labels and you can actually buy a label machine, which is a roller if you have a bottle. And that's what my cousin's wife does. She has the bottles and there's a label machine, and all it is a handle that you roll and it affixes the labels professionally on the bottles. There's no bubbles in the label, no smudges or things like that. So number 3, your product must look professional. So first we talked about your product ideation. What's your product idea? Number 2, your product creation. Number 3, your product must look professional. And I'm going to go in depth with this a little bit. Number 1, your UPC code. All right. I just talked about that at the top of the show. So my cousin's wife, great looking product and everything, no UPC code. Now, in order to get a UPC code, you need to go to gs1us.org. GS1, like government services, the number one, us.org. gs1us.org. Now, what that is the U.S. government, and there is only one place you can get your own barcodes. Okay? And I need to reiterate this. This is only one place you can get your own barcodes. You sign up, you have your company information, and every barcode that you have is related back to that company. Now, you can go online and buy other people's barcodes, but when somebody scans or searches that barcode, it's going to go back to them as the manufacturer. And if you're serious about your business, okay, I think you can buy like a couple of 10 barcodes for like $250, $275, something like that. And I know it may sound like a big investment, but if you're serious about going into retail, you need your own barcodes. Now, if you want to test the product and buy some used barcodes offline, you can go to like places like just Google in cheap barcodes. And what you're doing is you're buying barcodes that somebody else has not used or they're reselling. Okay, because a lot of people don't like to invest $250, $275 for 10 barcodes. And what you have to understand too, family, every individual product has its own separate barcode. So if you have a 6-ounce size of a product, that's one barcode. And you say you have a 6-ounce and a 12-ounce. Those are two separate barcodes because they're two separate products. Same physical product, but they're two different sizes. Okay, so just imagine you're going to check out at a Target or whatever, and a 12-ounce bottle and a 6-ounce bottle of the same product have the same barcode. That's not going to work, right? So UPC code, go to www.gs1us.org. That's the only place that you can get your own barcodes that's going to be identified with you, with your company. You are the manufacturer. Okay. Next, and we're talking about number 3, the product must look professional, packaging. I don't know how many times I tell my students in the Brand Builder Academy Elite program, packaging. Your packaging can make or break a product. Once again, we always talk about positioning. So if you're positioning your product as a high-end brand, that packaging has to be aligned with that positioning. I use the example of Beats headphones all the time. You buy a pair of Beats headphones. You open it up, they have a book. It's in a nice package. It looks good. Or you can go to Best Buy and buy a pair of headphones that are in a clamshell, little plastic clamshell that you pop open. It's all about positioning. So your packaging is paramount for your success. It must be aligned with your product positioning. Now, for example, you guys familiar with Voss water, VOSS. It comes in a cylinder bottle, clear, with a silver cap on it, and it said Voss, VOSS. Nothing different about this filtered water than anything else except the packaging. And they're getting $2+ $2.50 or whatever for a bottle of water because it looks good. Packaging, family, don't sleep on the packaging. On one of my flat iron products, I positioned it as a high-end product. I spent an extra $1 and a couple of cents on each packaging, on each unit, so the packaging would be higher end. But that investment in an extra $1 for the packaging allowed me to sell the product for a much higher price. Okay. Next, number 3, we're still talking about your product must look professional. Your graphics, guys. Get a graphic artist or somebody to design your label and your packaging. Okay, the graphics on it anyway. So if you're dealing with a manufacturer and you're private labeling a product, one of the things that they'll tell you is, here are the schematics for the package. Get your graphic artist to go and work on this layout. So if you have those skills, that's great. But if you're not a graphic artist and create packaging or know how to create packaging and the verbiage that goes on packaging, then you got to go to somebody that's a professional. Also, guys, what I will say, well, we'll talk about that in a second. All right, so graphics must be professional. Now, your ingredients list, if you're doing anything that's a food or liquid or whatever, you have to have the ingredients on the product. So if you are private labeling a product, okay, you're going to a manufacturer or co-packer, they will have the ingredients for this product. So that needs to be on your labeling. So you need to make sure that you comply. If it's FDA, a product that FDA oversees, you have to comply with that. Okay. You can't sell products without the ingredients, and especially anything that you eat or that's topical, meaning you put it on your skin, your scalp, or whatever, or you ingest. Okay. Also, guys, if you have a food product, your food products, if you want to go into retail, must be prepared in a certified kitchen. You can't make pies in your house, right, and sell them at Walmart. It has to be in a certified kitchen, okay? And there are companies out there that you can rent kitchen space from a certified kitchen, because it has to have a cleanliness thing, and it has to be but it has to be pass inspection and all types of stuff. So you need to look at your local and your state guidelines to find an approved kitchen that you can create or cook your product in. So, yeah, you can do it out of your house and sell it at a flea market and stuff like that. But you will not be able to get in retail if you don't have your product prepared and cooked at an approved kitchen. OK, so that's big. You got to have that. So today, guys, we're talking about how to get your product ready to sell in retail stores. We're going through a couple of steps. Number 1 is product ideation. Number 2, product creation. Number 3, product must look professional. Number 4, all right, build your brand online first to support your retail sales. Build your brand online first to support your retail sales. Okay, guys, this is something that you got to take baby steps, okay? You can't just go in somewhere and all of a sudden you think you're going to be in Target. Because what Target is going to want to know, how are you supporting this brand? You're not big enough to do TV commercials. So you can run advertising, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. You can run advertising in a local geographic area, whatever. If your product is in regional stores, you can run promotions and stuff like that. But before you get into a big box retailer, they're going to want to see some proof of concept, meaning how many customers do you have? Do you have a following? Do you have a database? I'm telling you, family, you got to build your database. So build your brand online first to support retail sales. So if you listen to my interview, and I mentioned her again, Mahisha Dellinger from Curls, she talked about she built her following with street teams and selling online before she got into Target and Rite Aid and all the different retail locations that she's in. Because once again, if they buy the product and it sits on the shelf and it doesn't sell through, then they're going to have an issue and they're going to make you buy the product back. That's almost what happened to us years ago when we had a product in a lot of supermarkets and stuff like that, because we didn't have the money to buy shelf space. Because that's for sale. So when you see all those big products or big brands on eye level on the shelf when you go in the supermarket, it's because they pay for that space. You'll see all the little brands and, the one-off companies, they'll be in obscure places. And if people don't see it, guess what? They're not going to buy it unless they're specifically looking for that product. Okay. Step number 5, you must have a good display to jumpstart your sales. And what I mean by a good display. So if you ever walk in the supermarket and they call them end caps, and you'll see products displayed on the end of the aisle, that's called an end cap. Now those cost money, but that's the concept I'm talking about. So you can have countertop displays. So if you go to a convenience store and you see 5-Hour Energy, a lot of times it's in a countertop display. It may be a wire rack with a sticker on it, or it could be a corrugated box. But you need some type of point of purchase display. Now, there's several companies that specialize in this. One company is called Soopak.com, 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 SOOPAK.com. You also have Uprinting, UPRINTING.com, the letter U, printing.com. You also have Uline, ULINE.com. Now, Supac and Uprinting will do custom printing in low volume or low quantity boxes, so you can create countertop displays. You can create all types of different displays. Uline does not customize, but what Uline will do is you can actually buy a corrugated countertop display, and then you can create your own label and stick that on the backboard of the countertop display. Okay, just selling something, sticking them on the counter it's not good. And retailers and convenience stores don't want product like that. They want a display because displays jumpstart sales. So that's number 5. Number 6, and this is key, guys. Your product must be profitable for you and the store. Your product must be profitable for you and the store. Okay? So let's go through some real numbers. This is one of my products that I'm about to drop within the next couple of weeks. Okay? My product cost is $2 per unit, $2 per bottle. Okay? I'm selling it to the store. I'm wholesale price to the store is $4.50. Now, the store is selling it for $5.85. So here's the thing, guys. When you're selling in supermarkets, a supermarket usually will look for anywhere from 30 to 35% markup on the cost of what they bought the product for. So in this example, and I'm talking about supermarkets, when you talk about convenience stores, they usually look for anywhere from a 50% markup to even 100% markup, which is called keystone pricing. Okay, so if they buy it from you for $1, they want to be able to sell it for $2, or at least $1.50 to $2. All right, so let's look at the real numbers for one of my products. Once again, my product cost is $2. That's what it costs, and I'm just rounding the numbers off for the actual production and shipping of the product to me. Okay, I'm selling it to the stores, the supermarkets, for $4.50. Okay, selling it to them for $4.50. They're going to retail it for $5.85. So let's look at the breakdown in the numbers. All right, so I buy it for $2. I create it for $2. I sell it to the store for $4.50. So I make a $2.50 profit per bottle, which is 125%. Okay, now the store buys it from me for $4.50 and they sell it for $5.85. So they make $1.35, which is about 30% profit. So it costs me $2. I sell it to the store for $4.50, and the store sells it to the retail customers for $5.85. Okay, so that's an actual real life example of having a product that can be profitable both for you and also the retail store. Now, once again, if the retail store isn't going to make money, it doesn't make sense, right? So they got to definitely have that. One of the things, too, guys, I want to talk about, if you're a minority-owned business, minority certification. Okay, so there's several different organizations, but the NMSDC.org, National Minority Supplier Diversity Council.org. N is in Nancy, M is in Mary, S is in Sam, D is in David, C is in Charlie.org. NMSDC.org. Okay, that's a certification organization. Also, you have the MWBE Enterprises.com. That's Minority Woman Business Enterprises. M as in Mary, W as in woman, B as in business, E as in enterprise.com. So those are two organizations that can get your business minority certified. So when you start to look at and you're ready for Walmart, Target, and other retailers, Whole Foods, you can say, hey, I'm a minority certified business. And that certification is only a couple $100. Okay. So, but that will certify you as a minority business. So a lot of these big box retailers have programs where they work with minority suppliers. So don't sleep on that. Just wanted to say that. So we want to look at number, I guess we can call that part of number 6. So this is number 7 right here. Test in local retail stores. You always want to test, guys. Test, and test some more. So you want to test in local retail stores first. Get proof of concept. And one of the easiest ways to do that, guys, is doing it through consignment. And what consignment is going to a store, just say a convenience store, giving them 10 bottles of your product, which are going to be packaged nicely, which are going to have a countertop display. Hey, these sell for $2. Every bottle that you sell, you keep $1. And when I come back next week, you give me $1 for each of the bottles that you sold. That's called consignment. What that does, it takes away the risk for the retailer. They're not paying you in advance. They're paying you if and when the product sells. And I will give you a real life example. I was in North Carolina. This is a newspaper. I had to grab some water. Let me grab this newspaper. So there's a newspaper. It's called the Jail Report. So if y'all are down in North Carolina, South Carolina, I think I've even seen these in Virginia. What it is just a newspaper, probably about 24 pages, and all it has is people that got locked up within the last couple of weeks. And this is from June 26th to July 7th. So it's about a week. July 2nd, I'm sorry. It's about a week. And all it has is color photos that people take right off of Facebook or whatever for their local county and police department. And it has the people's names on there. And this is how this works. The retail price, and I've actually talked to some of the distributors, the retail price is $2. So what happens is if you own that paper, you go into the retail convenience stores. Hey, look, can I put these on your counter? And every paper that you sell, same scenario, you keep $1. And when I come back, you give me $1. So the paper may literally cost, depending upon the volume, it may cost them 25 cents per paper. So they're making 75 cents. The store owner is making $1. He's Keystone. He's making $1, but it doesn't cost them anything. So this way, they're going out there and they've created routes where they have hundreds of these gas stations and convenience stores where they drop these papers off. And so that's how they build their business. So you can test using consignment or with small orders in local stores. Number 8, you just roll it out, try to roll it out to the big box stores. You have proof of concept, you're selling online, you got a database of tons of people that use your product, like your product on your email list. So now you can support your sales when you roll out to a big box, realtor, big box retailer. So you need to be able to support that. And number 9, you need to have inventory management and capital for inventory. You got to have inventory management and capital for inventory. So, for example, if you are getting your product manufactured overseas, you need to make sure what the time is, travel time, shipping time. So if you're by sea, normally if you're coming from China, it's 30 to 45 days by sea. That means that you need to have your inventory down to a science where you don't run out of product. Okay. Also, you need to have capital for your inventory, either lines of credit or cash on hand. You can also do financing like receivable financing and all that type of stuff too. So, it's paramount, guys. Inventory management. There's so many companies that don't get that right the first time because they don't have a history of how their product sells. So obviously, if you have a product that's a gift type product over the holidays, you're going to have to stock up on inventory. If it's your slow season is the summer, then you know what your inventory requirements are. So before we close on out, guys, and do the last quarter of the show, I just want to give you guys all my social media contact information and resource links. So once again, I mentioned my new book at the top of the show, A New Black Wall Street, Circulating the Black Dollar Worldwide by Building Successful E-Commerce Businesses. You can go to anewblackwallstreet.com, pick yourself up a copy. Print version $14.95 plus shipping and handling. The digital version $9.95. Now, if you need additional assistance building your successful, sustainable e-commerce business, I've created my new flagship compatible course, Brand Builder Academy Elite. You can go to bbaelite.com. Find out more about the program. It started out at $397, but because of the coronavirus, it went down to $197, and now I'm doing an additional $100 promo. When you go in and register, go to bbaelite.com. When you register, use the coupon code BBAELITE100. Flagship 14-week implementation program takes you from soup to nuts, from A to Z. All right. Next, I mentioned at the top of the show, 2 of my platforms I created to help circulate dollars in the Black community. First one is BeSmartByBlack.com. BeSmartByBlack.com. If you are a Black product producer that wants you to sell your product to Black consumers worldwide, upload your product information. It is free. Upload your product information and sell your product to Black consumers worldwide. Now, if you're a freelancer, I didn't forget about you. If you do anything on Fiverr or freelancer.com, once again, go to hireblackfreelancers.com, HIRE, blackfreelancers.com. Upload your content and your information. And once again, it is free. So now you can connect with Black consumers and Black businesses that want to hire Black freelancers. Now, if you want me to come out, and I know Corona is still rocking and rolling, but in the future, if you need me to come out or want me to come out to speak to your organization, school, church, whatever, for my book talk or just to speak in general, just go to bookjjones.com, bookjjones.com, and fill out the short form, and I'll get right back to you. All right. Next, if you want to connect with me, anything long via email, hit me at jjones@blackentrepreneurblueprint.com, JAYJONES at blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. Facebook, go to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Twitter, hit me at jjones001, JAYJONES001. Instagram, jjones for real, JAYJONES, the number 4, REAL. YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, family. I got additional content on YouTube that is not on the show. Yes, the show does come out on YouTube, but this is additional content. Go to YouTube, type in Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, and hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get them subscribers up on there, family. Also, LinkedIn. Just go to LinkedIn, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, J. Jones. Connect with me, LinkedIn. Also, if you want to be included in the BEB text line for notifications and reminders about special events, text BEB to 555-888. BEB to 555-888. Now, that was a mouthful. All of that information that I just gave you is on bebconnect.com. Just go to bebconnect.com. That takes you to a page on my website, and it has everything that I just talked about. All my social media links right there, and all my resource links for entrepreneurs. Everything I just talked about and more, go to bebconnect.com. Now, before we close it on out, guys, I just want to reiterate how to get your product ready to sell in retail stores. So if you can take this next step, and what I recommend, first step, proof of concept, selling online first, because that's what you need to do. You need to build up your database. You need to build up your actual war chest, because if you're going to go in retail, if you go into big anyway, you're going to need resources. So I would definitely recommend selling online first, getting proof of concept, finding out what people like, what they don't like. You know, like I talked about last week, creating a minimum viable product. Let people give you feedback. Oh, man, this was a good product, but I think you need to do A, B, C. And if you see some consistency in what people are telling you, then you probably need to make those changes. So once again, real quick, you have number 1, product ideation. You know, what's the idea? Step 2, product creation, create the product and do a minimum viable product or a prototype. Number 3, the product must look professional. Barcodes, packaging, graphics, ingredients list, all of that stuff. It has to look like it comes or belongs right on the shelf with all the other products. Number 4, build your brand online first to support retail sales. Number 5, must have a good display to jumpstart sales. You got to have it packaged, family. You can't have your product sitting on a countertop without being in a point of purchase display or a countertop display. Number 6, you must be profitable for you in the store. I gave you guys the numbers of one of my products that's about to drop. Also, minority certification. I talked about that. Number 7, test in local retail stores. Use consignment. See if people buy the product. And you guys know what consignment is. You put it in the store for free, and every time they sell a unit, you get X amount of dollars per unit. Number 8, roll out to big box stores if that's the plan. And number 9, make sure you have inventory management and capital for inventory. Inventory management and capital for inventory. That's big. You don't want to have people loving your product and now they can't get it anymore because you ran out of inventory or you don't have the capital to do that. So you have to be strategic when you roll stuff like that out. Before we close on out, guys, I say this each and every week. Also, I want to thank you guys. Again, I sent out some Instagram posts in reference to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint is number 25 in the USA under business and careers in terms of podcasts. And we're up there with other stuff, Smart Passive Income, Entrepreneur on Fire, Grant Cardone. And so we're right up there in that class, guys. And once again, I said it on the IG post. I couldn't do it without the BEB family. Please continue to spread the word about BEB, the actual podcast, the blog, and the movement, because that's what it is, family. We're trying to build an economic power base in the Black community. The information is good, but the concept, what we're trying to do is paramount for the success of our people. So please continue to spread the word. Thank you guys so much. I also found out I'm number 52 under business in Great Britain. I'm number 139 all time. Well, we're number 139 all time under business podcast, under the career section, 139 all time. So once again, guys, it's attributed all to the BEB family. I love you guys. Please continue to spread the word. I'll see you same time next week. Peace.